Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled parent stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen demands I pay her college tuition. After that, entitled parent asks me to reevaluate if I want to keep my job. So I did. And after that, keep harassing me? That's going to cost you 5 years' salary. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen has to pay for her own college. Like heck I will. That's what you're for. So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Karen demands I pay her college tuition. I, 44, male, am divorced and have been for over 10 years now. My ex-wife and I have 2 kids, one son, Ben, who's 19, and one daughter, Lauren, who's 17. My ex-wife and I split custody 50-50, and I paid child support on time every month, as well as ensured our kids had everything that they needed for sports and other activities. At a young age, I started a college fund/early life starter fund for the kids, which they were aware of and has grown to a large amount through the years. Over the years, I have always had my kids on my time and tried to be present in their lives. Ben has always been happy to come to my home, have family time, tell me about his life, have a father and son role pretty much. Lauren, on the other hand, is the total opposite. She pulled away at a young age, and when she was old enough to decide for herself, she cut me out pretty much 100%. I spent years reaching out to her and trying to build some type of bridge with her, but nothing ever worked. She went to a few different therapists, and I can only hope that it helped in some other aspects of her life, but it certainly didn't help in a family role. Over the past few years, my son has become angry with his sister and calls her ridiculous. I've told him to not mind that and it's not her fault, but him leaving for college changed me on the whole thing. When he left, it felt like I lost my only kid, and I gave up trying to have a relationship with Lauren. She never reached back out and neither did I. It felt terrible at first, but it's much easier to deal with mentally for me. A few weeks ago, Lauren and her mother reached out to talk about her college tuition and where she had decided to go. They asked me if I wanted to go walk the school with them again, and I declined. I told them that I felt I was only being invited because my checkbook was needed. I informed my ex and Lauren that I would not be paying for college or any other of her expenses after her 18th birthday, June, and that I was going to use the money elsewhere. My ex blew up at me. My daughter didn't say anything, and when they told my son, he called me to tell me that he thought I was right and Lauren was to blame. I wasn't a fan that they told him to begin with, however. Now there's a rift between the 3 of them. Should I just let this whole thing go and pay for her education? Would I be the jerk if I stuck to my decision? Update. I want to thank everyone for their time and comments. A lot of you have assured me this is the correct course, while others have disagreed and have been pretty rude. This is the best course, and I'll simply retire early and help my son with his first home. I don't expect to have a relationship with my daughter ever again, and that's something I need to make peace with. I won't serve as her ATM when she's in need though, and with child support ending in July, it will no longer be my concern. Therapy hadn't helped her much in the last several years, so I doubt she'll miss that much anyway. Well, what would you do in this situation? Would you pay for her college or not? Please let us know. Please do leave a comment. I really can't wait to read what you think about this one. Entitled parent asks me to reevaluate if I want to keep my job, so I did. I, 19 female, work for my neighbors as a full-time nanny for their baby, Lena, who's 1. They have 2 other daughters, Haley, who's 8, and Taya, who's 11, but I've been specifically instructed by their parents that I am only there for Lena, not them. I wear a mask my entire workday, and so do the 2 older girls and parents. We are very aware and safe. So this past Friday, I was getting up for work, and I received a text from my boss, I'll call her Rachel, detailing that she and her husband would both be gone from the house until noon, and I was to skip my 11 a.m. break in order to make sure the other 2 girls would be supervised. I had just woken up, so I said okay and went to make my coffee. I had a hard time saying no on the spot, and it takes me a minute to think through some things. When Lena went down for her nap that morning, I texted both bosses and told them that I completely understood that there were going to be appointments that they had or things they needed to do, but I would like to be asked if taking on 3 kids and skipping my break is something I'm willing to do, rather than told. I also told them that my hourly for all 3 girls is $20, compared to the $15 I was making watching Lena alone, and that I would like to be paid as such. I received a long text from their mom around 15 minutes later that basically said they felt as though they had made several exceptions where my pay is concerned, and that she was perturbed by my message. She then went on to detail 3 different instances in which they had shown me kindness and felt as though I should have made an exception. To top it off, she asked me to reevaluate over the next 2-week period whether or not I wanted to keep my job. I was really taken back by this message, so I called my mom and asked her what she thought. My mom was angry. She told me that before lockdown, she would drive Haley and Taya to school in the morning along with my sister and would pick them up as well in the afternoon. I guess there was plenty of times my bosses assumed my mom would babysit after school with minimal heads up and leave. My mom had to tell them to stop or pay her for her time. I've also kind of felt like they were dumping all their kids on me, especially because I serve as unpaid supervision for the 2 eldest due to the fact that both parents work in isolated parts of the home. I constructed my own message back and detailed my own 5-point list of kindnesses that I had shown the family, including last summer when I worked the same job I work now for $5 an hour to help out when the mom had to take on a summer job. I've also recently agreed to take on an extra 10 hours weekly with no increase in pay to show my appreciation for this job. I then told her that I didn't understand how any of what she said had to do with the fact that I need to be asked in advance to take care of all 3 girls. I told her I was unsure of what I had said that was deserving of a response asking me to reconsider if I wanted to keep my job. I put in my 2 weeks and told her that I did not appreciate my job stability being threatened over something so minimal, to use this time to find alternative childcare, and that we would part as friendly neighbors. They pretty much freaked out. I don't think Rachel was actually expecting me to quit. She told me I had stressed her out by texting her in the first place and that she was just trying to make sure I was being properly paid because I had made it sound like they were shortchanging me. I told her that they were, and she shouldn't have threatened me. She looked at the floor, and the poor husband was trying to do so much damage control. It was pretty awkward. I do love the little one I babysit, but this has been such a mentally and physically taxing job as it is. I guess this was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. This is kind of a bittersweet malicious compliance. I'm gonna miss her, but not how tired I am. And I definitely won't miss being taken advantage of. If you made it down here, thanks. I know it's not super juicy, but standing up for myself felt like a small victory. Edit. I just got off work, and I'm so happily overwhelmed by your responses and awards. Thank you all so much for your insight, advice, and compliments. So many kind strangers on this app. This is truly so heartwarming, and I love reading everyone's jokes too. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Have you ever had a boss try to take advantage of you? If so, what did you do about it? Please let us know. I've got a co-host who does, I'll tell you that much. Keep harassing me? That's going to cost you 5 years' salary. First, some background. A bit over 6 months prior to the start of this story, we had a change-up at the company I worked for. The old owner was a great guy that was retiring and handing the company off to his son, a real jerk just out of business school type. The son, with the mentality that the company is now his, went about restructuring, namely reassigning teams to different projects and leaving those that remained in their old positions to pick up double, if not triple, the workload. He did this all in the name of saving a little money. Unfortunately, my department, Safety and Engineering, of which I was the team lead, was not spared from this effort. In the end, I had it out with the boss and department head, ultimately costing the company 3 months of the entire department working 80-plus hour weeks and forcing a huge year-end bonus to be paid out to us. Unfortunately, after my initial meeting with the new boss, the son, he took a liking to me in a really bad way. Essentially, he really liked me and wanted to go out with me or hook up with me, or however you want to put it. He even enlisted his friends and secretaries to help him. It went on for months, just blatant harassment. They even made comments about me losing my husband, that I should just get back on the horse, so to speak. I kept everything, every email, every voicemail, and went to my best friend, who happens to be a really good lawyer, a contract lawyer to be exact. So not exactly their area of expertise, but they knew enough to help. This friend drafted a letter to the boss, essentially a stop or we're going to start a big case over this kind of thing. And yeah, everything stopped. However, I was then moved from working in office to a work from home arrangement. I knew what was coming. They were going to do their best to get rid of me, so I started documenting everything. But as luck would happen, I received an email chain from the bosses. A good friend of mine in the office who was in the email chain added me to the CC list. And wouldn't you know, it was back and forth communication of them discussing how they would get rid of me and pin the blame on me. The email chain was just disgusting. They hated me so badly and wanted me gone, but because of my contract, they would have to buy me out. But being the cheapskates that they are, you know they wanted me gone for free. So the company bosses started a campaign to try and torment me. They first tried to say that because now I work from home, they were required to install cameras in my home office to make sure I was being productive. Luckily, that did not work. You have to love contracts. They also tried assigning an impossible workload to me, but luckily, my team and I were almost like family, and they picked up the slack. After 3 months of this crap, I get an email and a phone call from the HR department saying I was getting laid off indefinitely because there was just no work for me. This was complete BS, given that we had several dozen projects we were working on. On a side note, in Ontario, there's no such thing as a layoff, as in the court's eyes, being laid off is considered an active dismissal, which is essentially the same as being fired. After this conversation with HR, I call my lawyer friend, almost in tears, just shouting, "Look what they're doing to me! Help!" She calms me down and tells me, "This is such a good thing. We have so much evidence against them." I had already forwarded and printed everything off that was sent to me, and it was lucky I did, because a few hours after I was laid off, my computer was remotely wiped clean. Everything was gone, leaving just a blank desktop. When I called the HR department to get copies of all my filed complaints, what do you know? Everything was gone. In their place was a bunch of BS reprimands that never happened, that I never signed or saw, dating months and months back, and all signed by the new boss, despite the fact that they were dated before he ever even took control of the company. It was clear they were total BSing, but I got copies of everything to add to my stack of records. I texted all my old colleagues to let them know what was happening, and that I'm basically gone. Like I said earlier, we were like family, and with me on the way out, they started looking for better employment. Not only that, but they contacted all their friends who worked for the company to do the same. I was laid off on a Monday, and on a Thursday, I walked into the office with my employment lawyer. I swear, the main secretary was on the phone to security the second she saw me walk in, and they were at the door in a matter of minutes. My lawyer simply handed her a legal document, a summons to meet for mediation at his office on the next Friday. During the following week, I received so many calls and text messages from the bosses, friends, secretaries, and people I know in the office to just be friendly with the owner, to just drop it, and that they wanted to bring me back and forget about everything. Like heck I was going to go back to such a hostile work environment. Friday finally comes around, and into my lawyer's office, my former boss walks in with a squad of 4 of his lawyers to settle the matter. And off the bat, he offers me 3-month severance to end all of this because I didn't have any evidence to rebut the fake paperwork they had on file. At this point, my lawyer starts to bring out all the paperwork we had, namely copies of every complaint I had ever filed, which were all signed by the bosses, HR, and myself. Luckily for our case, I had made sure to take a copy of each complaint when it was written up. They didn't think I had anything? Oh boy, were they wrong. My lawyer made the case that in court, it would be obvious that all the paperwork they had on their end were forgeries. Nothing was signed by me, and he pointed out that there were dates with the boss' signature where he wasn't in the country, let alone working for the company yet. At that point, the boss and his lawyers went to speak privately. About half an hour later, they came back with a much better offer, a full year's salary. But my lawyer was like, "Nah, we'll just go with what the contract says, plus go for damages in court." Given the recent change over at the company, the lawyers seemed to know they couldn't afford this going to court, not to mention it would be so bad for the company's reputation. So they basically rolled over and asked, "What do you want?" We demanded 5 years' salary, plus the average bonus I would have made for each year, all the legal fees paid. It was a big win, but it didn't end there. I got a little taste and wanted more. I made phone calls to several companies where I had contracts and found jobs for every member of my team and several members of other teams. By the end of the week, the company lost 10 of its most talented people. Not to mention, most of those people had friends and colleagues that ended up following them to their new employers. The fallout was pretty bad. Before all of this, they had the pick of the litter when new university students graduated. But now, because they lost almost all of their senior people, they had no one to mentor new employees. Plus, word got out fast on how they treated workers like crap, so no one with any talent would even think about getting near their company. As of today, the company is just a shell of its former self. It's still big, but it bleeds money. They also now have a problem with permanent staffing and are paying out the nose to hire subcontractors. Let's just say they don't make money like they used to. In fact, they have not started any new projects in something like 9 months. If something isn't done on the side of management to improve things fast, they will likely be going bankrupt in the very near future. Am I the jerk for telling my parents I don't want to buy a house with you? Hey everyone! So I'm Indian American, and if you're Indian American, you know that parents and relatives love purchasing expensive houses to flex on others even if they can barely afford it. Same goes with luxury cars, luxury huge houses, expensive clothes, gold. So I'm 26, male. I work as an HR administrator and I make around $60,000 after taxes, which isn't much, but I don't mind. I'm able to have basic necessities, rent a nice apartment, and have plenty of money for my hobbies like gaming, woodworking, and books. My parents in general think I'm a failure and that I'm dumb and I'm not successful. Long ago, they cut contact with me. All the words and ways they treated me started affecting my mental health extremely bad, resulting in numerous mental disorders, which I take meds for but still isn't gone. So since we distanced, I've been feeling much better. Recently, they wanted me to come over to their house because they wanted to talk about something important and it can't be said over the phone. So I came over and they made lunch and treated me nicely. And then my mom and dad started talking nicely and both of them apologized to me and said that they love me and all. They acted really friendly. I thought they actually changed for real because it's been a few years since we came this close. Then they cut to the chase and said, "We want to buy a new house and it costs $500,000. Then they showed me the pictures of the house they want, and it's a beautiful house. It's 5 beds, 5,000 square feet, with a luxury gate and a huge land, pool. I say, nice house, Dad, but where will you get this type of money though? Loan or something? You retired and you don't earn as much as you used to, and Mom's a housewife, so $500,000 might be out of your range, right? Then my dad said, "Oh no, we aren't going for loans. You pay us $250,000 and I will put $250,000. Then I can buy the house." Immediately when my dad said, "You pay us $250,000, I was shocked and just got up quickly and told them, "Sorry, Dad, I can't afford $250,000 at this moment. I don't have that type of money. I don't want to buy a house with you." I quickly leave, and before I closed the door, my dad said, "I thought you loved us. Don't you want your old parents to live in a nice home? I brought you to America, and now you're leaving your parents?" Mom starts fake crying, and my dad is telling me, "Wow, you're leaving your old parents. You should be ashamed of yourself. I knew you were a failure. Disgusting." Mom continues to make boo-hoo noises and fake cries, and says some really mean things to me in Hindi. I just closed the door and left. I have saved up a good amount of money, around $100,000 for my job, side hustles, etc. But I don't plan on purchasing a home right now because I'm not certain where I will be living permanently yet. Plus, with job layoffs and all, I don't want to have all these responsibilities yet, especially at this time. Am I the jerk? Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk, or are his parents? Please let us know. Those have got to be some of the worst parents I've ever heard about. Sometimes I can't believe people like that actually exist. So you will close my account if I don't agree to pay higher interest rates? Okay. So this was back during the 2008 government mortgage crisis. Had great credit, a great job, and multiple credit cards I used to manage the different properties I owned. A personal card, gas cards, etc. So one day I get a letter from a credit card company that rhymes with Apidal Pink, saying that they unilaterally were raising their rates from 13.99% annually to 27% annually. If I wanted to keep my card, something many people during the crisis needed to do to survive, I had to agree to the new rate. Otherwise, they would close my account. I would not be able to make any more changes on the card, and I would have to continue making monthly payments at my current interest rate until the card was paid off. Of course, I had done nothing wrong credit-wise to deserve this treatment from my credit card company, almost doubling of my interest rate. So I called their service line. After being on hold for over 2 hours, I finally got to speak to a CSR, and after not getting anywhere with her, I had to hold for another 30 minutes to talk to her supervisor. I was basically told, very rudely, that I could either accept the new rate or choose to close my account. Those were my only 2 options. Incensed, I said, "Fine, close it." And they did. What they didn't know was that a week prior, I had transferred all the balances from my other cards, over $22,000, to their card without paying a transfer fee and at a promotional rate of 1.9% for 1 year. But because of the law at the time, they could only charge me at a rate of 1.9% until the loan was paid. Here's the malicious compliance part. So here I am, 13 years later, paying the absolute minimum payment I am required to make each month, never missing a payment, and never paying late. Otherwise, their default rate of 27% would kick in. Since the inflation rate during these years has been well over 1.9% interest, I pay. It's like free money. I paid off every other creditor I had with the money I saved and don't even use credit cards anymore, as I've been able to save enough to live on a cash-only basis. They've tried multiple times to get me to reactivate the card or to transfer the balance to another super-duper account with lots of benefits for me, like paying a much higher interest rate, without success. The only thing I lament is that all good things must come to an end, as my balance is now down to $1,000 or less, but at least it will last another couple of years. P.S. Young folks, I lucked out. I would have been up a creek otherwise. If you don't have a credit card now, strive to not ever get one. Do you know who I am? So a few years ago, I used to work for a tech company with a fruit logo as a technician. Most of the job was making appointments and checking people into the Genius Bar. I routinely got put on check-in, which I didn't mind because I was fairly good at de-escalating the angry people who came in for appointments to get their devices fixed and told we have long wait times. The store was only slow when we closed. It was more common for walk-in wait times to be 2 hours plus, but if people were nice or genuine, I knew some ways to make the appointment time significantly less. After a while, I got talked to by my leadership to try to avoid doing that and to move through the line because it affected the amount of in-store wait times and made us look bad, which is fine, I understood that. However, anytime an angry customer came in and threw a hissy fit, super rich area, and the never being told mentality was common, the management folded over and did whatever they asked. A few days later, I'm back on check-in and the line is to the door and packed. We have 2 people on check-in and moving quickly, but not quick enough. I see a larger dude in a nice suit that walked into the store and right past the obvious line straight to me and starts yelling he has to be seen right now. He tells me he has an issue with his phone that sounds like a simple software bug that we can easily fix, and I tell him, I'm sorry you're having these issues, but rest assured we can and will get them fixed for you. Unfortunately though, our wait times are extremely long, but if you return to the line and wait, I can either put you in our queue and text you when we're ready, or I can make an appointment for later on today or tomorrow. At this point, I notice his face is turning red, and he looks like he's about to blow. This dude screams at me, Do you know who I am? Do you know what I do? I'm important, and I need this phone working now, so find someone to help me. At this point in the day, I was already tired and was about 30 minutes late for lunch because the line was so long and I stayed to help my replacement with the line a bit. I stopped what I was doing and dropped my customer service smile and looked at the dude with the dead-eyed, worn-out retail worker's stare and said, Sir, I have no idea who you are, but if you need help with that, you're in the wrong place. The hospital is about 2 exits down. I suggest you go there. But if you need help with your phone and want to be seen right now, I will do so. If you tell every person you walked past that your time is more valuable than theirs, so you must go first. If they agree, I'll get you taken care of. But if not, get to the end of the line and wait like everyone else. Surprisingly, the dude actually turned to the lady I was helping when he barged in and started to say, Ma'am, I have, before she just cut him off and said no. I told him, You heard her. Sorry, please move to the end of the line. I never found out who he was because he stomped like a kid and stormed out of the store, throwing the heavy doors open and disappearing from view. After he left, I helped the lady and went to lunch. When I got back, my leadership on the floor told me I should have tried to be more helpful. And I told him I just got talked to for being too helpful, and for the rest of the time I worked there, they didn't bring up the issue again. I believe the guy probably sent his secretary or assistant up because that practice in the store was really common. The "Do you know who I am?" phrase became an inside joke between me and some coworkers when we had demanding customers. I got upgraded to husband from somebody I've never even met before in my car. So I had to stop and get breakfast before I went to work and thought I'd put minimum effort in and go to the convenience store. I park my car in the front space and shut my car off. I then unlock my doors to get out. Well, in the split second in between these actions, my back door flies open and somebody with bags in their hands starts sitting down. Lady, I cannot wait to get home. Now, I've heard these stories about people being crappy in this situation, and I didn't want this lady to A, say some funny business happened in my car and I go to jail, or B, run out of my car screaming and I go to jail. So I turn around and politely say, Me. Ma'am, I'm not your Uber. Lady finally looks at my face. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I thought you were my husband. Me. I say this a lot and it just came out. Not with that attitude, I'm not. Now she's laughing and slightly teary, I assume from embarrassment. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Me. It's okay. Please don't make a habit of getting into random people's cars. Please look in the window next time. I'm so sorry. I thought you were my husband. I get that. Awkward silence. Please exit my vehicle. Oh yeah, haha, sorry. Have a nice day. So not the most exciting thing in the world, but it was definitely weird. And I guess maybe from her side it made sense. She gets off the phone with him and sees what she thinks is his car roll up. And as soon as she gets to it, the doors unlock. I get it. Still scared the crap out of me though. Nice lady. Some say she's still looking for her husband to this very day. Entitled mom waits until I go to the bathroom, then lets her brat eat all of my food at a restaurant. Hey guys, so been a while since I posted here. I was in luck. No entitled parents in sight for so long, but looks like my luck ran way out yesterday. Here we go. We've got entitled mom, we've got entitled kid, we've got decent dad, and we've got amazing manager. Alright, let's dive into some context here. So in my city, amid everything going on, patio dining just started opening in restaurants. I've been super careful during this whole thing, social distancing, the whole bit. Yesterday, I finally decided I wanted to go eat at a restaurant for the first time since March, and this one great restaurant near my house was doing patio dining. I show up and grab a table and place my order. Shortly after, my food comes. Entitled mom and entitled kid take a seat at the table nearest to me. I really needed to pee, and I had a whole bunch of stuff with me. I'd been running some errands. So I turned to entitled mom and asked if she would mind watching my stuff from her seat while I went to the bathroom. She was super sweet. Oh, sure, honey, go ahead. And then I went on my way. But then, oh lord. When I came back, I didn't even know what I was looking at. Her spawn was sitting in my seat, with his bare hands shoveling my food into his mouth. All of my bags were rummaged through and full of food from his dirty hands, and entitled mom was just sitting at her table, scrolling through her phone. Me. Whoa, what the heck happened here? Entitled mom. Oh, hey sweetie. Looks like he took a real liking to your food. He just couldn't keep his paws off. Me. Ma'am, with everything going on right now, and you don't know where I've been, and I don't know where your kid has been, yet you thought we could just share food? He's eaten almost all of it. And what about my stuff? Excuse me, you mangy tween. I'm 19, by the way. I wasn't gonna say anything, but you don't need to be eating all of that food, unless you want to get fatter than you already are. I also don't like you implying that my baby has something. As for your stuff, he saw some stupid knickknacks he wanted to play with in there. What did you want me to do about it? Quit whining and eat the rest of your food. Oof. I'm in no way overweight right now, but as someone who struggled hard with eating disorders in the past, I was seeing red. Oh, and those stupid knickknacks she mentioned, 90% of it were birthday presents for my mom, whose birthday is coming up next weekend. Oh, and all the while as we're arguing, entitled kid is still eating. Entitled mom and I start raising our voices when the amazing manager finally comes out. Entitled mom. Thank God you're here. This mangy child is trying to take our food and our stuff right over here. I'd like you to call the police. He looked at entitled mom, and then back at me, and then back at entitled mom. Manager. Ma'am, I'm not sure if you're maybe not in the right mindset. You seem maybe a little unhinged, but I was actually here when this young lady came in and ordered. I actually brought her food out since we're understaffed. I mean, I surely could have mistaken you two if you weren't a hag, but unfortunately for you, shrugs. At this point, a man arrives, our decent dad. I don't actually know for sure, but I'm assuming he showed up late to join the entitled mom and entitled kid for lunch after work because he was on a call still. He noticed the commotion and with a, "Here we go again" look, he hung up and came over. I explained the whole situation to him and the entitled mom gave her twisted side of the story and he immediately believed me, which makes me think that she's definitely pulled some crap like this before. Decent dad. Honey, let's just leave, please. Come on. Manager. Yeah, you guys are definitely leaving. But you still have this young lady's meal to pay for, and whatever reimbursement is needed for these items you ruined, unless you'd like the police to be involved. Entitled mom. Ha! In your dreams. I'm not giving you or this child a penny. Let's go. Grabs the kid and starts leaving and motions for decent dad to follow her. Decent Dad really silently came up to me and Awesome Manager and started apologizing profusely and taking out money from his wallet to give to me. Decent Dad: Here, please take this. I'm so sorry. Genuinely, I'm looking into a divorce currently with my lawyer, but she can't know about it just yet. Here, I'm really sorry about your stuff and your food. Please replace everything on me. I'm so sorry. He closed his wallet and left while still apologizing. I felt so bad for that guy. Jeez. I hope he gets out of this situation ASAP. Anyway, I think I find some comfort knowing that entitled mom has a surprise divorce fastball heading her way. That's gonna be a fun time for Decent Dad and pure amusement for little old me. Don't stop now, you're on a roll, so come watch this video next and we'll see you when you get there. And please support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a special shout out in our next video. And did you know you can have us make any kind of video you'd like us to? Come visit our Fiverr, link pinned in the comments below.